Hey everyone, it is Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. We are back. This is Direct Lawn, and our special guest is Barry Donadio, candidate for Queen Anne's County Commissioner and Middle East expert. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dwight. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for inviting me back home on your podcast, where all of my podcasts have began right from your show. I've been on a couple of times, but thank you for welcoming me back home again with you both. Thank you.
So you're running for Queen Anne's commissioner, and so tell me about the race. First of all, tell us about Queen Anne's County. I mean, we sometimes we drive through it and we don't realize it, so we should know that we're in Queen Anne's County when we're going across the Bay Bridge. But tell us about the county and what you want to do as commissioner.
So Queen Anne's County is a very beautiful place that I chose to live at when I came down from New York in 2002. I took a position at the White House and U.S. Secret Service, and I wanted to have a place that was peaceful, beautiful, country-like, and really good people, and I found it on Kent Island. So for those that are not sure where we're at, you cross over the Bay Bridge right there at Annapolis. As soon as you cross over eastbound, you're on what's called Kent Island, and that is the beginning of Queen Anne's County. I live on Kent Island, and Queen Anne's County extends much further east and encompasses a lot of beautiful farmland, and the people here are very nice. You know, me being from New York, I'm not used to waving and people waving back, so you get that all here in Queen Anne's County. Good schools, good people. Good, hardworking people. Another thing about Queen Anne's County, I love to call it the jewel of Maryland. I consider it like the Hamptons of Maryland in a way. It is very, very different kind of a culture because we're on that island kind of culture thing. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on here. Very lovely. And we are a county that is very unique. We are a very pro-military, pro-law enforcement. We love our school teachers, so we're very, very. We take a lot of precedence in our heroes and our veterans as well. So we're a very culturally rich community and county, as well as very supportive of law enforcement. I love that. And I'm running for Queen Anne's County Commissioner because I love the county. I want to serve the people, and I've named my campaign "We Come First," and that means not me, but you, the citizens. The citizens are going to come first. And I've been out talking all day long with people, meeting people, and my first question is, I asked them, what's on your mind? What, if I'm a commissioner, what can I do to make your life better? Because I'm focusing on quality of life for the citizens here and nothing more. And every single time they're talking about, they're very upset with the traffic. They're very upset with some of the development. It's somewhat overdevelopment, and we all understand that development is good, right? In many cases, but just the way it's being done in high traffic choke points and putting stuff up, it's almost like random. To be honest, it's almost like a drunken sailor decided, hey, we're gonna and the thing is, it's not just me. I'm not the madman saying it. Yeah. It's everybody I'm meeting saying the same thing. And I tell them, well, look at the back of my card. You won't believe it. I guessed you were going to say that. And right on the back of my card says overdevelopment, traffic. And, development is good in ways too. Don't get me wrong. There has been some successful development here. I'm never going to say that. But I just think time for the residents to come first over special interest. Yeah. And out-of-state developers, which seem to be catered to, and then kind of the rest of us are stuck with it. And like they'll build something, it'll make chaos. We're already in a traffic crisis here, by the way.
I mean, look at the traffic issues you have.
Oh, it's crazy. The state has to close down our exits to this point now. It's gotten so out of control. The state comes and closes our exits to try to help with the traffic. And at this point, that's all they can do because it's gotten so bad. But I feel that, if we just didn't build certain things in certain places and maybe just manage the land just a little bit better, it wouldn't be so suffocating with the traffic. So that's like the number one thing. And then to add insult to injury, they want to put traffic cameras in here. Now, I don't know anybody that would vote for that. I'm not going to sign that. I'm not it's not going past my desk. If you disagree with that, I apologize. And yes, I agree with a traffic camera on the school bus. If you go past that thing, yeah, fine. I think everybody agrees with that. But I can tell you from my native Long Island, right? It started the same way. They wanted traffic cameras, and it's being used,
LIE is where it started.
it's being used as, hey, it's about school safety, and we're going to put it by the schools. And I get that it makes people believe somehow they're safer, but believe me, right now up on Long Island, there is nothing. Where I'm from, it is nothing but traffic cameras. It's an infestation of traffic.
It's like Montgomery County's like that too.
Crazy. Yeah, who wants that? Like people here, the ones that I'm talking to, they want to be left alone. They want to make a living. They want to enjoy themselves. They don't want to have to be stuck in traffic and then deal with a traffic camera on top of it. God forbid they go a little bit faster than they should have. That's just, that's the consensus I'm hearing. So there are some heads exploding because I made a public statement about that. And, ultimately, I just look at that as a money generating thing. That's really, who's going to pay for it? Not the people on Route 50 driving Ocean City. It's going to be us. It's going to be, that's who they're going to be getting the money from. So I don't think people want it. And that's what I'm hearing. So that's just one thing. It's really nothing personal about anybody in charge or anything. It's just different. And it just seems to be that it's like a pro-development agenda, which adds to the traffic, unfortunately. And again, some traffic, or I should say some development can be good, but it's just gotten a little too much, and people want to change. That's what I'm hearing.
So are we talking about zoning changes, access to the water? What kind of fixes would there be?
Well, it appeared, well, for one, okay, and I'm not sure if there's a fix to the traffic, to be honest with you. It's just, so much at this point, I think it's beyond really repair. However, what I can promise is I'm not going to add to it. And I don't think anybody right now is making that promise that they're not going to add more development in an already traffic choked area. So these are, Queen Anne's County specific issues. Also, I would like some kind of a tax break. I met a Purple Heart veteran, by the way, at a Purple Heart, a Marine. I don't want him taxed on his property. I don't want any tax. If I could get him any kind of a discount, I will through the county. I don't want our seniors being taxed at the same rate as me. I don't think somebody that's 80 should be taxed the way I'm being taxed. I'm still able to work and make a living and everything. But what about our senior citizens? So I want to give breaks to people, but mostly I want to concentrate on quality of life and putting these citizens first. And that's it. And you know what? Win, lose, it for me, I'll be okay. I'll still be up on TV every day doing my news commentating and running a successful business. I'll be fine, but I'm not sure if the residents will be fine if I lose. That's just it. They're going to suffer like lambs to the slaughter with this traffic congestion issue that is only being compounded. And I had run for commissioner in 2018. I was running on the same principle of trying to control the traffic. And since then, it's been like tenfold worse. Tenfold. Yeah. So everybody from Queen Anne's County, they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I mean, I drive through there fairly frequently, and I know around Centerville and not Centerville. What is it? It's Centerville, but it's pronounced differently, right? Queenstown, not Queen. Yeah, that whole area by that outlet mall. I really think that's ripe for a bypass. Frankly, if their state would put a bypass for people that are going on to Ocean City, they take the bypass. They don't have to deal with the mall traffic there.
Right. Yeah, a lot of traffic issues aren't necessarily any county elected officials' fault. Some of it is in the hands of the state and everything.
Yeah.
The other thing though that I forgot to mention, I don't know about your electric bill, but mine was last month $850. $850. Wow. I live in a 3-bedroom Cape Cod in a working man's neighborhood in Harborview. County residents will know where that is. I make a living just like everybody else, and you know what? I'll be fine. I don't like paying that much. I'll be okay. But you know what? What about our 70 and 80-year-old residents that live in a house by themselves? And now they're going to pay $850 for electric. And again, that's not necessarily a county elected official's fault, but I want to know what's being done. Okay. And because I'm hearing a lot of things out on the town, I'm hearing this from residents. This isn't just coming from my own head. I'm hearing, okay, the county is going to take a 19 million potentially, and I'm not 100% certain. I'm hearing it, the word on the street. It's being talked about that a potential $19 million loan is going to be done to build a pedestrian bridge. And before we do that, I would be saying, hey, we need to take care of our people. If we're a county of residents that really truly are united and want to help each other and be the county, because we're really a county of heroes. So many veterans, so many police, so many firefighters in this county. A lot of them live here, work other places as well. We need to start taking care of ourselves. We need to take care of each other. I just don't think some of the money that's being spent on certain things should go where it's going. I think we need to take care of our own first. And it just seems to have gotten way out of hand to where it seems to be we'd be catering to everybody but us. And that's why I've come up with the We Come First. And it's been a great success so far. A lot of people are very interested in it. And I'm certainly an overnight hit on Facebook because I'm interested, of course, in the traffic cameras that you don't like either. So, but that's where it's at. But otherwise, it has been just great. I'm very excited. I'm out. I'm going to events, meeting people, and everybody's been real nice. So
you got an event coming up over in a few days over at Squisitos, right?
I'm going to be over there. I'm going to be meeting some more constituents there. I've invited people to come on over by the outlets tomorrow. It's going to be at 6:30. Anybody's welcome to join me over there and just meet with me if you want to talk and see what else I stand for. But mostly my quickest answer is I stand for them. Really, my duty to act and my service to the people of the United States is really where I'm coming from. Somebody asked me what the pay is for a commissioner, and I don't even know. I don't really even care. This is a public service to me. And, like I said, if voters choose another, this is just a 3-person primary, believe it or not. No Democrat has tried to run for this office this term. So it's just me and 2 opponents. And whichever Republicans pick, I will support whoever the Republicans pick. I will ask them to please consider some of my initiatives, of course. But, there's no sour grapes here or anything. This is a gentleman's race for me. And I intend to conduct myself honorably. Win or lose, I will win or lose with grace and still continue to serve the people of Maryland, the county, and the United States, always, forever, to the day I die.
Now, the schools take up, the funding for the schools takes up a big part of the county budget. That said, the counties tend to have a limited amount of impact on it. The school systems are subject to the state mandates, and obviously they're also managed by the school board, the elected school board. So, but on the other hand, it's a big chunk of your budget, right? What are your thoughts as to the kind of influence you could have on the Queen Anne schools, and what would you like to see different?
Right. So you're absolutely right. It's a big cost. I think there was some promises made many years ago from other commissioners that they simply didn't realize they couldn't keep financially. That's my understanding of it. Of course, I don't have all the numbers in front of me, and I understand that. That's fine. And you know what? It's going to a good cause. Our schools are very, very important. And, I'm willing to fund the schools to the max. I'm also very, very interested, and I want classical schools, this classical private schools in Queen Anne's County too. So parents have options if they want to private school their children. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I think it's a great idea. And or even a military academy would really be cool. I think that would be very interesting. What a better place to do something like that. So it's very expensive, and child education should be invested in my opinion. I want every child, no matter who or what they are or whatever their thought process is, wherever they come from. And it seems to be this way. I think the county schools have been very good. I have 2 daughters that went through, and I just want children to have every opportunity possible to do whatever they want. And I'm pretty happy with the schools, to be honest. And then I'm very proud that my one daughter here is a substitute teacher with the Queen Anne's County schools. So we have some knowledge of what's going on, and I think they do a very, very good job. She's also a registered behavioral technician. She also serves in the private sector. So that's exciting. So I consider teachers right up there with firemen and policemen. They're part of our heroes. My school teachers were very, very important to me. I think in our county, whatever I can do to make everything the best for Queen Anne's County schools and our private schools as well, they should get the best treatment because they really are part of our children's lives. And I like the old-fashioned, camaraderie between teachers and the students, like kind of like when we were younger. I kind of feel like we were very much closer to our teachers than they are. I think there's more of a degree of separation, but I have no complaints really about the Queen Anne's County schools as is right now, and I will do everything I can to fund them.
And go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, I was going to see if you had another question about Queen Anne's County before we shifted gears.
Actually, no, I was actually going to shift towards Iran because Iran, at least, Barry, you being an expert, successful airstrikes. We're winning the air war there. Got them. I heard today they're basically looking at blockading Karg Island, which is their major refinery. Is there and looks like the Iranians are mining the strait, which we've been taking out their mines, the mine laying ships and so on, and the mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Your thoughts in general on that?
Well, my thoughts is I would not want to be on an Iranian naval vessel right now because that won't last very long. The United States and Israel is leading probably one of the most massive air campaigns of our lifetime. Just imagine literally 100 fighter jets, F-35 nomenclature, and then another 100 from Israel, all continually striking over and over and over, literally for it's been 12 days now or so. Mm-hmm. Now to the point we have our B-2 bombers doing it. We have our stealth bombers doing it because we have complete air superiority over the entire country of Iran. They can say what they want, but the fact of the matter is, we had a drone flying over the Persian Gulf, a slow-moving one. It was just hovering there. They couldn't even shoot that down. So that should give you an idea. Now, yes, they have a ballistic missile or two hidden somewhere, and certainly more than two. But the fact of the matter is, we can actually fly over their country, over their capital, and they can't stop us. So I think from a military standpoint, we have been dominating this operation from the beginning. I did say at the beginning, and I say this on a lot of news channels, and I'm also on the Arabic news, which is very exciting. And they know that I kind of know what I'm talking about with this. But we said we're going to take casualties if we go into Iran. It's not Venezuela. It's not a one-day operation. But to tell you the truth, the Ayatollah, the supreme leader, that is a dangerous character, or was, okay? This is a man that's promised the annihilation of another country, Israel, the minute they get a nuclear weapon. Now, look what's been happening during this war. They've attacked all of our Gulf state allies. And, a lot of people don't realize, a lot of Americans don't realize that we need our allies in the Middle East. We need Saudi Arabia. We need Qatar. We need Oman. We need Bahrain and Kuwait. We're very close allies with them, not just Israel. So we're protecting Israel too, but we're protecting them. And what had happened? They shot off missiles and attacked everybody. They attacked all those countries that I just mentioned, and not just our bases. That's a lie. So their missiles are flying into residential areas.
Yep.
Saudi Arabia. So make no mistake about it. Now imagine if the Ayatollah had a nuke right now. Well, that means Tel Aviv would be nuked right now, and so would Saudi Arabia and all those other countries I mentioned, because they're just taking potluck shots at everybody now, just to stir the hornet's nest or try to, as a last-ditch effort of survival. But ultimately, that Navy is done. We've conducted a naval operation, sunk a naval vessel with a sub, which has not been done since World War II. I would not, again, be on a Iranian naval vessel for nothing right now. That would be targeted. And then we have the new Ayatollah, which was just chosen. His life expectancy, I would really analyzed as being extremely short, maybe hours from now. And it really depends. Maybe he's not like his father and he's very much into peace and wants to exist with Israel and the other neighbors peacefully. I highly doubt that, since the missiles are still flying and he's in control. So make no mistake about it there, either us or the Israelis are going to target him too. And then they're going to target the next leader and the next leader until the agenda is, from my perception, a total collapse of the regime.
So you're suggesting that, just to be clear, that the ultimate objective should be regime change in Iran?
That's my understanding. And that's because I look at President Trump, and let's just see how he does. He goes for all. He don't go for half. Okay. And that's a good thing. And he needs to go for all. And why do all of this only to pull back, right? We can destroy their military hardware. We can take out their missiles. We can take out their air defenses. We can take out their whole Navy, everything. But what's the point of it if we don't have that regime change? Now, remember, Iran is no threat to Israel or any of our allies or any of us if that regime isn't there. We're not at war with the people of Iran by any means. The people of Iran don't have an issue with Israel or anybody else. It's just this regime. And remember, this is the same regime that invaded, took power in 1979 and held Americans hostages. Okay.
Right.
They went into our embassy. It's the same. It's not a different regime. It's not a watered down regime. It's the same people.
So Barry, I don't think anybody will question the fact that it's, the nature of the regime. It's just, haven't we seen this movie before, which is that air superiority by itself and military superiority in a conflict followed by air superiority over a period of time doesn't necessarily result in regime change. And I think, for example, of Iraq in the early 90s, where Saddam Hussein was, forced out of Kuwait, his military was obliterated. We continued to have air superiority for the next 12 years. We expected that, the Kurds and other disaffected groups were gonna rebel, and it never happened. It didn't happen. I mean, basically, we went 12 years until the Iraq War, where we, not to relive all of the run up to that, but basically we affected regime change with an invasion. So does that suggest, and I could certainly continue on, but does that suggest that air superiority by itself won't bring regime change? And in effect, the examples where there has been regime change has involved boots on the ground, which
you're 100% right. Yeah, I mean, I agree. The first Gulf War, I guess we're all still wondering, why didn't we go all the way to Baghdad? I guess.
There is a good answer to that. I'm happy to do it, which is that we went into the war, we went into the conflict with a coalition of countries where we explicitly said our objective is to get Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait. That's our objective. We accomplished that. And we reached those aims, and then we stopped. Now, had we continued on, presumably we probably would have been facing a very similar situation to what we faced 12 years later with the collapse of Iraq and everything else, which was obviously which was, to use my favorite phrase, problematic. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm coming to the nub of this issue of how do you, if regime change is the end objective, do we really have the tools, resources, and will to do that?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. First Gulf War, the objectives, exactly what you said, was to expel the Iraqis from Kuwait. And probably Bush Sr. said, you know what, we've got the job done. Let's not go into maybe a potential quagmire. And
right.
So stop there. Left Saddam in power. They must have been talking to him somehow. There must have been some kind of a deal somewhere, or maybe through the Gulf state allies to maybe try to control Saddam back then, as we know did not work.
Yeah.
We enforced the no-fly zone in the south and the north.
Right.
Right? Remember all that?
Yep.
We're doing it, and still bombing, by the way. That bombing went on for years and years and years after that. to enforce the no-fly zones. So, and to protect the Kurds as well. We're really going back in time here. So then we had the Second Gulf War, and you're exactly right. I don't think, I mean, you could potentially get some kind of regime change solely by airstrikes. However, that's like a luck of the roll the dice, maybe. Like maybe there could be some group that can take advantage of the situation based on our airstrikes and pull that off. But that would have to be predetermined, right? So I think without boots on the ground in Iraq, like you're mentioning, yes, we wouldn't have been able to get Saddam out unless there was a significant force, a ground force that would have been able to expel him. We had to go in there ourselves. So with this one, with Iran, I agree with you too. We might get lucky with all the airstrikes, but I don't think that's President Trump's plan. I think his plan is there is a ground force somewhere of whoever it might be, whether it be the Kurds, whether it be Iranians already in place that are dissatisfied with the government, that are waiting in wait stage, in likes of 30,000 of them. It is quite possible. And it's probably going to have to be supported by the Americans. And I believe, despite what government says, and I don't know for certain, I'm speculating, but I'm reasonably certain that during a military operation like this, the SEAL teams are probably at work right now on the ground, Delta Force, Special Forces, even Army Rangers on limited capacity missions. They're probably boots on the ground, and 5 years later from now, we'll find out what they were doing. But you're right. I don't think we can affect the regime change of Iran without something on the ground or some predetermined force that's going to go into literally the presidential palace where the authority is in Tehran and say, we're here and you're out. And that's it. Right. So I agree with you.
One of the challenges is apparently the Iraq Revolutionary Guard set up a strategy or a protocol or command structure that if the central authority was destroyed, as happened, individual regional commanders, of which I don't know, say 30 or so, had full authority to go do whatever they had to do and launch missiles and whatever.
Sure.
And that more than a little of what we were talking about before, this war, these attacks that are going on to countries that previously had not had conflict with NATO, for that matter. I mean, they sent missiles towards Turkey. That these commanders are on their own. So one of the challenges you've got is that you literally have a fractured or decentralized command structure in Iran. Now, that's a terrible way to fight a war, at least the conventional war we're used to, but that's probably a great way to set up the stage for a protracted guerrilla war.
It's going to be a good way for them. However, they're just going to run out of missiles, number one, because the Americans and the Israelis are destroying all their capability to make whatever they're shooting. So this game runs out eventually. It's this play that they're playing. It has an expiration date, whether it's next week or next month. It's going to expire, and yeah, I mean that's the only play they have is to give their lower level commanders the opportunity and authority to launch a ballistic missile. And that's why they're saying the only shot they got, well, because they can't hit anything, well, let's just launch one over at Saudi Arabia and that'll show that we're still fighting back. That's about it. It's a potluck shot for them, really. Mm-hmm. If they keep doing it, what's going to happen is Saudi Arabia and all these Gulf state allies, they're going to get really angry and they're going to send troops in there. So they have to weigh that balance too. But ultimately, I go back to your original point. Yeah, there has to be some kind of a ground force, because if not, and if we don't topple the regime, this was a waste of time. This was a waste. And I don't think Trump is going to do that. I think, and then Israel would probably be like, well, why are we doing this if we're not even going to topple the regime? So, to the people of Iran, no one, and I've said this even on the Arabic TV, no one would ever expect the honorable people of Iran to surrender. We don't want them to surrender. They can have their country. We want them free. We want them to be them. We just don't want this infestation, what is the Iranian regime, which has not been there since Persia. That regime has not been there since 3,000 years ago. No, that's
been there since '79.
Yeah, that's
They've been
1970.
around for 47 years.
Exactly.
And the
That's
other,
Persia. That is not
and,
people
and
understand it's Persia. Right.
yeah. And let's talk about the big picture here also. We cut off China's oil supply from Venezuela.
Yes.
We're pretty much done that with Iran.
Yes.
That
That-
is the masterful plan of President Trump. We're denying the Chinese Middle Eastern oil, and now they just have Russian oil. Frankly,
you're
from the Russians.
you're very smart, and I'll tell you, just think of a world where what if potentially World War III kicks off tomorrow? Okay, these are all strategic allies of our
Yeah.
opponent. They have two less right now.
Yeah.
We're in a position. We're actually safer. Okay.
Yes.
China is no joke. China is a big opponent of the United States. Could we lose a war to China? Yes, we could. Wake up, America, because we could lose a war right now because of Trump's actions. And it's okay not to like Trump. It's okay. It's fine with me. Think military strategy, though. Military strategy, just like what you said. We just denied China oil supply and an ally to launch their vessels from, whether it be ships or planes,
Mhm.
as well as Iran. And we're helping out Ukraine, by the way. Okay,
Right.
because the Iranians have sold so many Shahed drones, which have been very effective in Ukraine. So we've helped out Ukraine enormously with this. It's an
But
enormous.
Barry, you're presuming something that's not happened yet. You're presuming that there will be regime change. And the history of, we talked obviously about Saddam Hussein and Iraq, but whether it's Hezbollah or Hamas, we've seen multiple actors in the Middle East that lose wars, lose conflicts, and continue on. And one of our writers, Mac Larimer, this is writers for Direct Line News, pointed out that this sort of survive for another day strategy was precisely the strategy that George Washington followed in the Revolutionary War, which was you couldn't go face to face with the British Empire, but as long as you were able to keep a military in the field and fight for another day, that surviving by itself was a successful strategy. And eventually we wore the empire, as Dwight's fond of saying,
Yes.
down. So again, there's this assumption of a head-to-head final conflict in which there's either unconditional surrender or a change in leadership. And what I'm kind of submitting is that I'm not convinced that we've got a military scenario to affect regime change. We certainly have not made that case to the American people. Nobody has gotten on a president. We have not heard a presidential speech that says, here's what my objectives are. Here's what I want to accomplish. Here's what it's going to cost us. It's worth the cost.
I think President Trump is keeping them guessing, and he's also keeping the enemy guessing.
Keeping the American people guessing too, though, right?
Well, that's okay for right now because we're not at war with the American people. We're at war with Iran. And if he can do a little bit of word jargoning to keep our enemies guessing, I'm perfectly okay with that.
Right.
I'm focused on him. I'm pretty certain this is the plan. Could I be wrong? Certainly I could be wrong.
Right.
But I just don't see any other path forward. I mean, we're going to do all of this just to destroy their army and navy and everything and just leave them in power. That would be like doing the same with Hitler or the Nazis. And we're not going to do that. So I just think we're at this point. Let's not forget, though, October 7th. This is the trigger point to all of this. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. Excuse me. So look, we had a complete invasion of Israel.
Mhm.
It wasn't just a terrorist, that little bunch of guys coming across the fence in Israel. Please study the invasion of what happened on October 7th.
Sure, and Hamas is still in Gaza, right?
They're not armed and they
No,
surrendered.
but there's still a major.
They're bottled
factor
up,
in
though.
Gaza.
Well,
Yes,
could there
but
be ones alive?
yeah,
they would
and
not
look
be
at
alive
yeah.
after World War
But
II.
yeah,
We're no longer Nazis, and I guess they're not going to eradicate and kill every person that's saying hey, we surrender. We're not, we're disarming and we just want to live as peaceful Palestinians. I don't expect that. That would be the genocide that Israel is always accused of. Which
No,
is
but
not,
I'm describing Hamas's role in Gaza, Hezbollah's. Obviously, we've had some developments with Hezbollah coming down from Lebanon, forcing Israel to go up there. I mean,
right.
those entities have continued to function to fight, despite, frankly, repeatedly losing military conflicts.
Also, Barry, the other thing I want to bring up is that under Joe Biden, we had open borders. Our southern border is open.
Right.
There are Iranian sleeper agents allegedly in the Americas.
You better believe it.
I mean, things go south. They activate those. Could we be seeing another 9/11 or something of that? I don't think they could pull off something that big, but I can see, like we see in Europe or we saw in Louisiana, where drive a truck through a crowd of people and so on. And this goes back to the security stuff. I mean, the fact that we had 4 years of unfettered entry into the country. We have no idea who's got into the country. I want to talk a little bit about that. What are your thoughts as a former Secret Service guy?
So just getting back to the potential of sleeper cells, and I was just on Newsmax last night talking about this as well. There's the Ayatollah who's been killed by U.S. forces, but what a lot of people don't know is there's actually a hierarchy of Ayatollahs. There's what's called a Grand Ayatollah over there in Iran. He's 99 years old. And because we killed the Ayatollah, the supreme leader of Iran, he has issued a lawful order, if you will, fatwa, an Islamic Sharia law, which is non-binding, like legal position on how Muslims are supposed to behave and react to this. And they are supposed to, it is a religious order. It would be like the Pope telling Catholics to do something. Okay. Right. So it is that they have to avenge the death of the Ayatollah. Now, not every Muslim is going to listen to that. They can be Muslim and not follow that law. Okay. But the potential for that with that order, and that's a real order that's already been done. There are potential ticking time bombs everywhere now, because whoever takes that seriously and follows that order, it could be anywhere. It could be around the corner from where you're sitting right now. It could be in Washington, D.C. It could be across the street from one of your viewers right now. Okay. That's how it is. And they may follow that. It just depends on how much they take the orders of a Grand Ayatollah seriously, and whether they're very, very orthodox in their practice of that religion. So that is possible. There's no doubt about that. Now, as far as, and we've seen in New York, the two gentlemen that were arrested for throwing incendiary devices at Gracie Mansion, there is some thought process that these young men answered the call of the Grand Ayatollah. We're not certain. They're looking into it. Of course, it's speculation. But there is some similarities to what they believe could be associated with that. Now, as far as the immigration goes, yeah, I mean, an open border makes no sense. I think a lunatic would do something like that. That's like letting people on a plane without checking them security. Yeah, that's what that is to me. A country doesn't have sovereignty if it doesn't have a boundary, or it doesn't have an entry point. It's just a land of anarchy, and we don't know who is coming in. So the people that would be coming in know that they're not documented, and that would breed the ability for them to believe, well, I can do anything here. I can create, I can do theft. I can do a sexual assault. They don't even have me on record. I could do that. I could stay here and they won't ever find me, or I could go back and they'll never catch me. So that's my concern. I have daughters, right? And everybody watching probably feels the same way. Most people don't, I think all people don't have a problem with immigrants at all, or at least in my household, and anybody I'm around, we don't have a problem with anybody from another country. I think they're kind of like that. The problem comes when they're here illegally, you overstay your visa. That is where the problem comes in. And I support that they have to go. Unfortunately, if you can't abide by our rules and regulations and our laws, well, maybe it's time for you to go. Now, let me give you an example. I just talked to somebody out on the streets talking politics, and they were upset at this same thing. They said, well, ICE is arresting people that aren't even criminals, but they just came over. And I said, well, wait a minute. So if I go to France and I don't have a visa or I don't have a passport and I just show up there and I'm in Paris and they catch me and I'm there undocumented, what do you think the French police are going to do to me? They're going to arrest me and they're going to deport me. That's what they're going to do. And that goes the same in every country. For some reason, people think it's like a phenomenon that it's okay to do it here, and it's not okay. My family came from Sicily. They came here at a time when you came documented. They came on a ship. They entered in New York, and basically to get citizenship, you followed the rules, you paid your taxes, and you stayed out of trouble. And after 7 years, you became a citizen. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe going back to maybe getting citizenship that way. Maybe that's a possibility. I will share something personal, though, with your viewers that one of my great-great-grandmothers tried to come here with her husband from Sicily. She wasn't allowed. She got stopped at Ellis Island, and I believe it was a heart murmur. It's been over 100 years now. We believe it was like a heart murmur they detected. They sent her back. Now, how come my family can follow the rules and the laws? Okay, and her husband ended up going back. Now, my great-grandmother, who ended up staying in New York for the rest of her life, she only was able to contact her mother for the rest of her life through writing letters back and forth from New York to Sicily until the letters stopped, and they still don't even know what happened. So what a terrible story and a tragedy, right? But we have to follow the law. We have to follow. Why did my family technically have to get deported? But everybody else thinks, well, it's okay. I'll just break the rules and stay here. So that's pretty much the consensus I hear from a lot of people that I talk to. And the answer is maybe getting some kind of a path to citizenship. I'm all for that, no problem. But if you're here illegally, you're not documented, that's the crime. Yeah, you may not have got caught driving intoxicated. You may not have gotten caught stealing or doing anything wrong. But if you're here, it's not a civil fine. It's under U.S. code. It is an arrestable offense and you will be deported. So that's the issue that I have. And I support ICE. I support law enforcement. I support, I'm against the 287 rule that Maryland is trying to vote in, where they're not going to allow our police agencies to even, I guess, talk to the federal police. I don't even know where to go there on this conversation, other than it sounds like it's in another country or something. So we're going to tell the
Barry,
government.
we're coming up at the end of the show. We wanted to give you an opportunity to plug anything that you've got coming, and particularly either some appearances coming up or anything with your county commissioners.
Sure. So we got a big event coming up 11th of April. That's been put out on Facebook, and you'll see it everywhere. Hopefully a lot of people come. We have use of a very nice house on the water, so it's going to be very nice. We'll have some drinks and hors d'oeuvres, and it's a great way to support. If you believe in me and you believe that I'm going to support you and I'm going to prioritize you as a voter and a citizen of the county. I'm not connected. My name sounds very much the same as a big developer in the county, who they're very, very nice, by the way. But I get confused with a developer, and they say, well, aren't you them? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a different tribe. I'm not them. But that's why I tell everybody my first name. And so I'm the only Barry on the ballot in Queen Anne's County. But yep, that's it. I'm not connected to any developer. I'm not connected to any special interests. You will see. And I've received a barrage of endorsements. I've got an endorsement from Congressman Andy Harris, our champion of conservative Republican values for the Eastern Shore, who has served us well. If you like the Second Amendment, you must like him. If you like agriculture, he's leader of the Freedom Caucus, very important for Maryland. And then I've been endorsed by Senator Johnny Saling. I've been endorsed by former chair of the MDGOP, Maryland Republican Party, Dirk Haire. And drum roll, please, Governor Bob Ehrlich, former governor.
Yay.
And it was great to see him. And I just saw him the other day in Maryland, and he's still hot and heavy. And he too has a podcast So look him up and you'll see.
Yeah, the bottom line with
Yep.
Bob and Kendall.
Yep. So he's great. And I really appreciate it. To all the people that I've mentioned, thank you so much. There are some other people on the sidelines, of course, helping out. And just thank you to all of them. We really appreciate it.
Right.
Hey,
Dwight?
Barry, so Barry, have you ever been to Missoni's? It's a great little Italian place owned by friends of the governor, Greg Missoni and his family, out in Perry Hall. I think anyone that's watching this should stop by. And if you mention the Bob and Kendall podcast, there's some sort of discount associated with it. I'm not sure what it is, but mention Bob and Kendall's podcast. There's sort of you get a discount there. So, and as in what's coming around, we've got our club's got an event. We're not doing one the first Thursday of next month because that is start of Passover and that is also Holy Thursday. So we will be doing it the second Thursday of the month over at Mama Lucia's in Olney, Maryland. And we have our guest is going to be our candidate for Attorney General, Jim Rutledge. Great guy. He will be our speaker. That's all I've got. Mark?
That's it. Thanks.
Oh, and check out our club website, mcgopclub.com, and our Substack, directlinenews.substack.com. Check them both out. The club website has probably twice as many news stories as you see on the Substack. So stay informed, stay in touch with everything. We had a lovely little piece on the passing of ACU chairman and CPAC chairman David Keene, as well as our friend Lee Annis, who passed away way too soon. They're both on the club website. Check it out, mcgopclub.com. That's it.
Thank you very much, Barry.
Thank you.
Great
Barry.
seeing you.
Thanks for doing the show. Good night.
Let's go down to Missoni, where Italian cuisine shines.